Chapter Zozan Rebirth. In the Rain Kingdom, Ling family of Kangyan Town, the moon hung high in the sky. It took Ling Han a full 10 seconds to finally confirm that he had indeed been reborn for a powerhouse at the Heavenly Man realm. It was absolutely incredible to take 10 seconds to confirm something, but it also proved how incredibly unbelievable what had happened to him was. In his previous life, he had stood at the pinnacle of martial arts, and had also achieved unprecedented accomplishments in alchemy, creating the 3-fire induction technique that revolutionized the alchemy world, earning him the title of Alchemy Emperor. But he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to go further, to reach the legendary void-breaking realm, shattering the void and transforming from mortal to god. To this end, he explored countless ancient ruins, eventually entering the Black Blood Valley, and after overcoming numerous danger, he found a mysterious ancient tower. It did not disappoint him. Golden characters appeared on the tower, a supreme cultivation technique called the Immortal Heaven Scripture. Cultivating it to its highest level would render the body indestructible and immortal, coexisting with heaven and earth, and sharing the same lifespan as the sun and moon. But even with Ling Han's Heavenly Man realm martial cultivation, he still found the Immortal Heaven Scripture obscure and difficult to understand, like reading a heavenly book. Completely without a clue, he forcibly memorized the technique. Just as he was about to study the tower gently vibrated, releasing an immeasurable divine light that instantly shattered his physical body. Strangely, his soul did not dissipate, but instead fell into a state that was neither awake nor asleep, neither dream nor reality, lasting for 10,000 years. During these 10,000 years, his soul had been pondering the Immortal Heaven Scripture. He could do nothing else, and after 10,000 years, he finally grasped the first layer of this technique, a Heavenly Man realm powerhouse. Spending 10,000 years to comprehend the first level of a cultivation technique, what kind of concept is this? Those who reach the Heavenly Man realm typically live for less than 1,000 years. Normally, no one could ever cultivate the Immortal Heaven Scripture, as they would die of old age before even beginning. Yet, Ling Han mastered the first layer of the Immortal Heaven Scripture in this bizarre way, and then, he suddenly came back to life, reborn into a 16-year-old boy also named Ling Han. It was utterly unbelievable! No matter how it happened, I'm alive again. Although this body is only at the second level of body tempering, a complete waste, I was once a Heavenly Man realm powerhouse, standing at the pinnacle of martial arts and a master alchemist as well. If my aptitude is lacking, I'll use pills. I refuse to believe I can't return to my peak. Moreover, I can finally cultivate the Immortal Heaven Scripture. It's a supreme cultivation technique, perhaps not even of this mortal realm, but from the legendary god realm. How could it take 10,000 years to comprehend the first layer? In this life, I will surely surpass my predecessors and achieve godhood. Also, what's the story with this body? 16 years old and only at the second level of body tempering. Is it because martial arts are so withered these days? Boom! Countless memories flooded my mind, those of the other Ling Han, the original owner of this body. In this process, two completely different individuals merged into one. I understand. Ling Han nodded inwardly. The reason he was only at the second level of body tempering was because his spiritual root was too poor. To cultivate and become a martial artist, a prerequisite is to possess a spiritual root. With a spiritual root, one can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, tempering oneself and transforming it into one's own Wan force. Some spiritual roots absorb spiritual energy quickly, while others absorb it slowly. Therefore, spiritual roots are divided into 4 major grades: heaven, earth, Huan and yellow. Each major grade is further divided into 3 minor grades: upper, middle, and lower. Heaven grade superior is the best, while yellow grade inferior is the worst. The key to judging the quality of a spiritual root lies in its purity. The purer, the better. However, Ling Han's spiritual root possessed all 5 elements, making it extremely chaotic. In the martial arts world, this is the absolute worst type of spiritual root. Even classifying it as yellow grade inferior is a stretch. Therefore, at 16 years old, he had only reached the second level of body tempering, while his peers had easily reached the 4th or 5th level. Ling Han possessed a heaven grade spiritual root, a superior 9-yang fire spiritual root, coupled with unparalleled talent in alchemy. By supplementing his martial arts cultivation with alchemy, he reached the heavenly human realm in just 200 years, an unprecedented record. A 5 elements mixed spiritual root, the absolute lowest grade. No wonder his previous self, despite his immense efforts, only achieved the second level of body tempering. For me, the 5 elements mixed spiritual root is a bit tricky, but with the aid of pills, within 400 years, I will surely return to my peak. Ling Han exclaimed inwardly, his face showing an unbelievable expression of shock. He was stunned for a moment before using his powerful soul force to re-examine the spiritual root in his danshin. The shocked expression instantly transformed into ecstatic joy. This wasn't a 5 elements mixed spiritual root. The 5 elements were perfectly balanced, forming Tao Lotus. This is a 5 elements chaos lotus, the top of the top, rarer than the 9-yang fire spiritual root, a divine grade spiritual root. His previous cultivation had been slow because god-level spiritual roots require specialized cultivation methods to unleash their true power. But I happen to possess the 5 elements supreme technique, perfectly matched to the 5 elements chaos lotus. No, only 50 years, and I can reach the heaven-human realm again. Even Ling Han, with his heaven-human realm cultivation from his past life, couldn't help but show a joyful expression. Spiritual roots are innate and cannot be changed by later efforts. In his past life, he had visited countless ancient sites in his pursuit of transcendence and divinity, obtaining numerous cultivation techniques and secret arts. among which was the 5 Elements Supreme technique. In his previous life, he stood at the peak of martial arts. In this life, he would recreate glory and forge an immortal myth. How did his previous self die? Ling Han delved into his memories and soon anger contorted his feature. His previous self was the only son of Ling Dongxing, the head of the Ling family. His mother, grandfather, and grandmother had passed away long ago. The Ling family was a martial arts clan. Every member practiced martial arts and revered strength. Why was Ling Dongxing able to ascend to the position of family head? Because he was the strongest, having earned it through his might. But because of his spiritual root issues, Ling Han was considered a waste from a young age, enduring countless scornful glances. To secure a bright future for his son, Ling Dongxing reached an agreement with Tiger Yang Academy. The academy would accept Ling Han as a disciple and cultivate him to his full potential, in exchange for Ling Dongxing venturing into the Purple Light Earth Valley to search for a long-lost artifact. Huyang Academy was founded by the Rain Kingdom dynasty, possessing countless resources. Even the most inept individual could be cultivated to the gathering Yuan realm if the academy put forth its full effort. But the people of Huyang Academy aren't fools. If obtaining that item were easy, Purple Light Valley is fraught with danger. One wrong step could mean death. Yet, for his son, 7 days ago, Ling Dongxing embarked on the perilous journey without hesitation. Yesterday, representatives from Huyang Academy arrived and informed the Ling family that they would come to collect their student today, as promised. However, at this juncture the Ling family's chief steward, Ling Xuanhuan, approached the protagonist and demanded he relinquish this precious opportunity to his grandson, Ling Moyan. His reasoning was that Ling Moyan was a prodigy with limitless potential, and such an opportunity should not be wasted on a good-for-nothing. The protagonist naturally refused. This opportunity was bought with his father's life! But Ling Xuanhuan, under the guise of negotiation, was merely informing the protagonist, not truly considering his opinion. The protagonist, unable to tolerate this any longer, struck out. But Ling Xuanhuan was a gathering one-realm powerhouse, able to subdue him with a single finger. How could he possibly be a match with a single punch? The protagonist was severely injured and confined to his room, clearly to prevent him from causing trouble before the arrival of Huyang Academy's representatives. By the time Ling Dongxing returned, it was too late. The gravely injured protagonist died of anger. Ling Han snorted, utterly indignant. His father had risked his life for this opportunity, only to have it snatched away by Ling Xuanhuan and his grandson. Those damned. Unbearable! He climbed out of bed, instantly feeling the aches in his body. He was alive, but his injuries would heal miraculously. My spiritual root is also injured! Ling Han frowned. Ling Xuanhuan's attack had damaged his spiritual root, a very troublesome matter. Ordinary medicinal stones wouldn't work. To my knowledge, there are 7 types of pills that can repair a spiritual root, but 4 require materials that are far too expensive. Even selling the entire Ling family wouldn't be enough to buy them. Besides, my spiritual root only suffered minor damage. I don't need such high-level pills. Of the remaining 3, 2 need to be refined into pills, which is too much for my current body tempering stage 2 cultivation. That leaves only one option, the Yuangxin Fuling powder. It only requires mixing the herbs in the right proportions and boiling them into a potion. It'll heal my injuries first, then stop Ling Xuanhuan and his grandson. I don't care about that. But I absolutely cannot let that shameless pair profit from the opportunity my father risked his life for. He sat cross-legged and began to circulate the Immortal Heaven Scripture. This was the first time he had circulated this possibly god-level cultivation technique, having studied it for tens of thousands of years. However, he now wielded it with effortless grace. A humming sound emanated from within as a powerful life force surged, his yuan qi rapidly depleting. Yet his injuries healed swiftly. In just a few minutes, his injuries were completely gone. It truly lives up to its name, the Immortal Scripture. I've only just begun cultivation, and already it's showing such miraculous effects. But it's completely different from other cultivation methods. Normal methods use spiritual roots to transform the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into Yuanli. However, does the exact opposite. It uses Yuanli to refine the body and heal injuries. At its highest level, immortality is not impossible. That's why it's called a heavenly scripture. Unfortunately, my current level is too low. I could use the Immortal Scripture to repair my spiritual roots. Ling Han opened his eyes, glanced at the gradually brightening sky outside the window, and murmured, now it's time to pay that shameless old geezer, Ling Xuanhuan, a visit. He put on his shoes, walked to the door and opened it. A tall figure immediately appeared at the doorway, blocking his path. This person was Xuanhuan, one of Ling Xuanhuan's lackeys. Young Master Ling, the Grand Deacon has ordered you to stay in your room today. Xuanhuan chuckled, thinking the other man, despite being the son of there, was nothing more than a well-known good-for-nothing, a joke in his eyes. Ling Han's eyes turned cold. You dare stop me? I'm stopping you. The Grand Deacon said that under no circumstances should Ling Han be allowed to cause trouble today. If necessary, give him a good beating, Xuanhuan said with a forced smile. This is the Grand Deacon's order. Please don't make things difficult for me. Young Master Ling Xuanhuan, that old dog, was truly cautious. Even after severely injuring him, he still wasn't at ease and posted guards at the door. This shows just how important getting his grandson into Hyang Academy was to him. But when that hope was dashed, his disappointment and anger were readily apparent. Get lost, Ling Han said coldly. Young Master Han, this is a slap. Coldly saying, what are you? Something that doesn't understand when told to get lost. What? Had actually been slapped by a waist. Xuanhuan couldn't believe it. Touching his face, this waste had dared to attack him, and had even landed a blow. Was this some kind of joke? Remembering Ling Chongquan's earlier words, to use force if necessary, his malice flared. He said grimly, "Young Master Han, you're forcing my hand." Slap! Ling Han swung. Chapter Lozon Toon Strong. Xuanhuan was about to go mad. Had actually been slapped twice by a waste! In his fury, he didn't even consider how a body tempering stage 2 waste could slap him. A body tempering stage 4. Twice, he roared and lunged at Ling Han. He had only one thought: to beat this waste senseless. He threw a punch, powerful and forceful, the wind whistling past. Ling Han remained exceptionally calm. In his past life, he could have easily dealt with 10,000 Zhongyuans with a flick of his finger. But now, he only possessed the strength of a body refinement stage level 2 cultivator. A little troublesome, but only a minor inconvenience. This body was now controlled by a former Heavenman realm expert. His perspective was different. With a simple movement of Zhongyuan's hand or foot, Ling Han could predict where the punch would land and where his footsteps would fall. Therefore, the moment Zhongyuan threw his punch, Ling had already reacted. Huff! As the punch landed, a cruel smile spread across Zhongyuan's face. If he landed this blow, the overwhelming force would instantly cripple Ling Han's ability to resist. He hit him. Surprise flickered across Zhongyuan's face. The punch seemed to have landed on Ling Han's face, but in reality, it had missed by a hair's breadth. Ling Han had retreated a step at the precise moment, perfectly evading the punch, not a fraction more, not a fraction less. It was as if measured with a ruler, stopping just before Ling Han's nose. It must have been a coincidence, Xuanhuan thought to himself. Just then, "Pa!" A crisp, clear sound echoed as Zhongyuan received a solid slap across the face. "Damn it!" Zhongyuan spat, roared and swung another punch at Ling Han. Almost simultaneously, Ling Han moved, leaning back. Whoosh! Zhongyuan's punch missed again. He planted his hands on the ground and kicked out with his right foot. Puffed, he landed a solid blow between Zhongyuan's legs. Oh, even at body refinement level 4, it was impossible to cultivate an iron crotch. Hit squarely. Zhongyuan instantly dropped to his knees, clutching his groin, cold sweat beading on his forehead. "You're so underhanded!" Zhongyuan gasped, his face contorted almost beyond recognition. Slap! Ling Han slapped him again. Zhongyuan's mouth, revealing Xuanhuan, showed no sympathy. "A dog is a dog," he said, "and will never produce ivory." Xuanhuan was furious. To be kneeling and receiving slaps from a body refinement level 2 cultivator, what a humiliation. He wanted to fight back, but the kick to his crotch had completely sapped his ability to resist. Any movement sent excruciating pain through him. But he couldn't let Ling Han ruin Ling Chongquan's plans. If he failed to complete the task, Ling Chongquan would surely eliminate him. "Han, young Master Han, listen to me, you can't leave! You've been poisoned! Leaving this room will cause the poison to take effect." In a desperate moment of inspiration, he had to keep Ling Han there. Ling Han couldn't help but laugh. This pathetic performance, it wouldn't fool him. He kicked Zhongyuan away. He had no time to waste with this lapdog. He had to stop Ling Chongquan's scheme, otherwise his father's sacrifice would be in vain. As for Zhongyuan, Ling Han wouldn't bother with such a small fry. Ling Chongquan would deal with him upon seeing him, so there was no need to soil his hands. Don't go! Don't go!" Zhongyuan's careful plea came from behind, as if he had already foreseen his tragic end. Reaping what he had sown, he deserved no sympathy. Ling Han strode forward, and within minutes he reached the inner door of the living room. Before entering, he heard a loud, aged voice from outside. "Please, please!" The living room had 2 doors, an inner door leading to the inner courtyard, and an outer door leading to the main gate. Peeking through the curtain, he saw 5 people entering, 4 men and 1 woman. Except for the woman, Ling Han recognized the 4 men. All were members of the Ling family. One, a man in his 60s, was the Grand Deacon, Ling Chongquan. 2 others were men in their 40s, both sons of Ling Chongquan. The last was a boy a year or 2 older than Ling Han, Ling Chongquan's grandson, Ling Mian. Ling Han looked at the lone woman, and even with his past life celestial realm perspective, he was struck. She was truly beautiful, her eyes like autumn water, her skin like the moon. 17 or 18 years old, she already possessed a captivating beauty capable of bringing down a kingdom. Yet, her expression was icy cold, like an impassable glacier, repelling any approach. This girl must be from Tiger Sun Academy. What a coincidence. Ling Han's pupils dilated slightly. He had noticed something even more coincidental, and a smile unconsciously played on his lip. Both parties settled into their seats. Several maidservants offered fragrant tea. Respectfully standing beside the 5 guests, "Are the people from your Ling family who are going to the academy ready?" Lu Yutong spoke, her voice clear, melodious, and tinged with disdain. She detested backdoor deal, and although she was acting on orders, she had no fondness for this future junior brother. "Ready!" Ling Chongquan hastily replied, though old enough to be the girl's grandfather. Their cultivation levels were surprisingly the same both at the Gathering Yuan realm. In martial arts, there is no seniority, only strength indeed. Ling Chongquan felt the girl's cultivation was even higher than his. He was at the 6th level of Gathering Yuan, while the girl was likely at the 7th, or even 8th. This made him even more eager to send his grandson to Haiyang Academy. Within a few years, the boy would surely surpass Ling Dongxing in cultivation, helping him seize the family head position. "Moin. Quickly come and pay your respects to your senior sister Lu." The old man turned to Ling Mian. "Yes, grandfather." Ling Mian responded respectfully, bowing slightly to Lu Yutong. Mian greets senior sister Lu. His eyes held a spark of his ambition ignited by this stunningly beautiful and powerful woman. He believed that with enough time spent together, he could win her heart. Liu Yutong was slightly surprised. She remembered the Ling family member who had secured a backdoor entry was named Ling Han. However, it was none of her concern. She was merely here to escort the student to the academy. Since you're ready, let's go, she said indifferently. Miss Liu, why don't you stay at my humble abode for a few days, so we can show our hospitality? Ling Xuanhuan hurriedly said, hoping to get closer to the young woman and potentially look after his grandson in the future. No need, Liu Yutong. Turning to leave. Wait, a voice rang out, and Ling Han strode out. The faces of Ling Xuanhuan and the other three subtly changed. No matter how much they despised this good for nothing of the Ling family, they were, after all, thieves. And thieves naturally felt a pang of guilt. Aren't you in? Go back to your room and rest. Ling Moyan reacted swiftly, darting to Ling Han's side and reaching out to grab him. He wanted to subdue Ling Han immediately, preventing him from speaking. He is at the 7th level of body tempering, far stronger than Xuanhuan. Chapter 003. You're sick, I can cure you. The body tempering realm is divided into 9 levels. Levels 1 to 3 are generally considered the early stage, 4 to 6 the middle stage, and 7 to 9 the late stage. There are significant differences in strength between these 3 stages, and the higher the level, the greater the disparity. A level 9 body tempering cultivator would have an overwhelming advantage over a level 8, but a level 1 wouldn't be at such a significant disadvantage against a level 2. While Ling Han previously appeared 2 levels lower than Xuanhuan in cultivation, it was only a difference of 1 major stage, but Ling Moyan is at the 7th level of body tempering, in the late stage, placing him 2 full stages above Ling Han. This was an insurmountable chasm. Even if Ling Han was once a heaven-ranked expert, he couldn't bridge such a vast gap. After all, his current foundation was too weak. What to do? Ling Han's eyes flashed. Seizing the moment when the other party lunged with a palm strike, he abruptly punched out. A sneer crossed Ling Moyan's face. While he didn't know how Ling Han got here, what threat could the well-known Ling family Westral pose? He circulated his white. The muscles around his chest immediately bulged, dense and iron hard. Even if he took Ling Han's blow head-on, what of it? The priority was to subdue Ling Han immediately, to prevent him from speaking. As expected, a smile played on Ling. The other party's reaction was exactly as he anticipated. Now you're going to pay the price, bang! Because Ling Moyan didn't dodge or weave. The punch landed squarely. Ling Moyan still wore a sneer, placing a hand on Ling Han's shoulder saying, "Hand brother." Puffed. Before he could finish, a mouthful of blood spurted out. This wasn't the end. He felt a boiling sensation in his chest, as if his insides were about to be expelled. He collapsed onto the ground, his face paling drastically. Ling Han stumbled back 7 steps, his retreat only ending when he collided with the wall behind him. What the hell just happened? Ling Han had employed a technique in his punch called seismic tremor, capable of transmitting force through defenses before detonating it within. Therefore, although Ling Moyan had used his Yuanli to fortify his defense at the point of impact, Ling Han's force exploded within his body, inflicting significant damage. It was fortunate that Ling Mian was at the 7th level of body refinement, otherwise, that punch would have severely injured him, even potentially killing him. Underestimating a former heaven and man realm expert was a grave mistake. However, 7th level body refinement was still 7th level body refinement. With the Yuanli rebounding, the force was still far beyond what Ling Han could withstand. He was consequently sent staggering backward, and the concussive force dislocated his right wrist. With a sharp crack, Ling Han, without a flinch, twisted his left hand, resetting his dislocated right wrist. Only then did Ling Xuanhuan and the others react, their expressions a mixture of fury and shock. Fury that Ling Han had actually injured Ling Moyan, and shocked that this supposed good for nothing had actually managed to accomplish such a feat. Several maids stood rooted to the spot, dumbfounded. Was this the same young Master Han they knew? How could he be so ferocious? Knocking the supposedly genius young Master Mayan unconscious with a single punch. You little beast, you have the audacity, the cruelty! Ling Xuanhuan roared. Mayan was only concerned for you, wanting to send you back to your room. And you strike him with such brutality, you heartless dog. As expected, his cunning and sly turning the tables on us. Ling Moyan finally caught his breath, his eyes fixed on Ling Han, filled with murderous intent. He was a genius of the Ling family, yet he had been injured by a good for nothing. How could his pride accept this? Ling Han ignored the grandfather and grandson, instead turning to Liu Yutong. Miss, he said, you're sick. What? Ling Xuanhuan was about to make a move, but he abruptly held back after hearing those words. She was a student of Tiger Yang Academy, an institution founded by the royal family of the Rain Kingdom. Those who could enter the academy inevitably possessed powerful backgrounds, far exceeding the level of a Zhuyanjing cultivator. Yet Ling Han had the audacity to declare she was sick. Wasn't that suicidal? Excellent. Next, he'll drag Ling Dongxing into this, using someone else's hand to kill. Then he can easily seize the position of family head. Wonderful. Ling Dongxing! Ling Dongxing, you never imagined, did you? Your son is not only a good for nothing, but also a filial impiety. Liu Yutong looked at Ling Han, disgust flashing in her eyes. She was breathtakingly beautiful. A precious daughter of the Liu family. One of the 8 most powerful families in the imperial city. The Liu family's influence was second only to the imperial family itself. Naturally, countless men vied for her attention, some even employing the reverse psychology of aloofness to pique her interest. She naturally dismissed Ling Han as just another annoying fly. Merely cursing him, it was certainly a first, but it didn't evoke any novelty in her. Audacious! Ling Zhongquan assessed the situation and roared, "Kneel down immediately and apologize to Miss Lu!" Ling Han smiled faintly and said, "In this war, aside from my parents, no one can make me kneel." He walked toward Lu Yutong, stopping when he was about 3 steps away, because he knew this was the limit of her tolerance. Any closer, and she would likely resort to violence, and he had absolutely no desire to be beaten. "Since you were 10 years old, haven't you suffered from unexplained fainting spells? It started with once a year, then became more frequent, and now, it's probably every 10 days or so," Ling Han whispered, ensuring only Lu Yutong could hear. Lu Yutong's. Only a handful of people in the Lu family knew about this ailment. Why did Ling Han know? She re-examined him, asking, "You know the reason?" "Naturally," Ling Han nodded proudly. He wouldn't have been so bold otherwise. "You have the triple yin deficiency pulse. People with this condition generally only live to 20. On your 20th birthday, after a fainting spell, you will never wake up." Lu Yutong fell silent, believing Ling Han's words. After her condition worsened, her family took her to countless renowned physicians, while every doctor was helpless, unable even to diagnose her illness. One prominent physician speculated that the frequency of her fainting spells would increase until one day she would fall into a coma, from which she would never wake. Now she finally knew what ailed her, but what difference did it make? All the renowned physicians in Rain Country were helpless. Of course, she never considered that Ling Han might have a solution. "I can cure you." Ling Han spoke at that moment. Lu Yutong's heart trembled, but her expression remained unchanged. "If you can cure me," she said, "I can appoint you to an official position, or give you countless cultivation resources." Ling Han smiled brightly. "There's only one way to cure the triple yin depletion. Cultivate the triple yin profounder. And I happen to know this cultivation technique. I can teach you, but on one condition: you become my follower." Lu Yutong's anger flared. She was a precious daughter of the Lu family, a martial arts prodigy herself, having reached the gathering yuan 8th layer at the young age of 17. Now, a mere body refinement 2nd layer cultivator dared to ask her to be his follower. Where did he get his confidence, his audacity? "Don't feel aggrieved," Ling Han said persuasively, "because I can offer you a far broader sky, allow you to reach even greater heights in martial arts. Have you ever seen the 7 great forbidden lands, the 4 great valleys of death, the 3 great hanging seas? The triple yin depletion is cursed by heaven, it's true, but heaven doesn't close all doors. Those afflicted often possess heaven-grade spiritual roots. As long as you cultivate the triple yin profound art, you'll surely soar to the heavens." She had a fervent pursuit of martial arts. It was her entire life. Chapter 004 The First Order. Although Lu Yutong's heart was moved, agreeing to be Ling Han's follower was utterly impossible. She slightly parted her lips. Ling Han smiled faintly and said, "You're at the peak of the gathering yuan 8th level, right? I'll give you 2 mantras as a token of my sincerity. 3 yin nourishes the yuan Dao diagram, and 3 flowers gather at the top. Break through the firmament." Lu Yutong initially dismissed it. This guy was only at the 2nd level of body refinement. What amazing mantras could he possibly offer? It was probably just a ploy, but when she heard the 2 mantras, the yuan force in her body stirred, as if the gate to the 9th level of gathering yuan was opening. She was moved. Although she knew she would eventually break through to the 9th level of gathering yuan, it would take at least a month. Yet now, she had a strong feeling she could do it in a day. No, perhaps even now, she could immediately begin her breakthrough. This was too exaggerated. It was just 2 mantras. These are 2 lines from the overarching 3 yin profound technique. What do you think? Ling Han chuckled. Then, raising his voice, he added, "Become my follower and I will teach you supreme martial arts." Puff! Ling Xuanhuan and the other 3 burst out laughing. Wasn't this the funniest thing ever? A mere nobody actually wanted to take a genius from Tiger Yang Academy as a follower and claim to teach supreme martial arts. This boastfulness was outrageous. This audacity was unbelievable. What an unfathomable fool! Several maids also covered their mouths. Stifling giggles. They knew Ling Han's background, and one only needed to look at Ling Chongquan's and the others' attitude towards Lu Yutong to understand how high her status was. Lu Yutong's slender hand trembled involuntarily. A fierce internal struggle raged within her to accept or to refuse. The 2 thoughts clashed incessantly. Logically, as a precious daughter of the Lu family, a genius with a top-grade heaven-level spiritual root, how could she become a follower of a mere level 2 body refinement cultivator? Yet, her martial heart throbbed with restless ambition, urging her to agree. Furthermore, Ling Han's claim to cure her illness didn't seem to be an empty boast. Forget it, there are plenty of talented people in the world. "I'm not desperate for you." Ling Han deliberately shook his head and turned to leave. "Wait," Liu finally made up her mind, stepping forward to grab Ling Han's sleeve. "I agree, but only for 3 years. She will turn 20. If she's still not sleeping forever, then she'll be completely free." Puff! Ling Chongquan and the other 3 spat out their drinks again. But this time it was from intense shock and bewilderment. Could their ears have been playing tricks on them? Did they just hear Lu Yutong say she agreed to be Ling Han's follower, Waste's subordinate? This must be a misunderstanding. Absolutely. Ling Han turned back, a smile playing on his lips. He raised his hand, saying, "A deal then! 3 years. If he still can't subdue her by then, he'll be a failure. Besides, he's just weak now and needs a helper." To be furious Ling Chongquan. Slap! Lu Yutong also extended her hand, meeting his in a palm strike, a customary agreement among martial artists. Such soft hands! As their hands met in a clasp, a tremor ran through Ling Han. Though he had once been a heaven-human realm powerhouse and a Taoist emperor of alchemy, with countless beauties vying for his attention in his past life. The fusion with his previous self had ignited a youthful impulsiveness within him. A long-dormant passion burstly making him feel 16 again. Ling Han reveled in this transformation. This was the meaning of life. Miss Lu, ignore this brat's nonsense. Let's discuss the matter at hand, interrupted Ling Zhongquan, unwilling to let Ling Han continue disrupting. And that Xuanhuan, what a fool! He could even keep an eye on a useless person. I'll have him executed upon my return, Grand Elder, Ling Han said coldly, his gaze sharp. This spot at Tiger Yang Academy was won by my father with his life, his risking his life in the Purple Light Valley. Yet you shamelessly seized this opportunity. Don't you feel your face burning, impudent? How dare you speak to this old man like that? Ling Zhongquan roared. Lu Yutong hadn't initially paid much attention, but having made a pact with Ling Han, her attitude shifted. Elder Ling, she said, what is the meaning of this? I demand an explanation. Ling Zhongquan could ignore Ling Han's words, but not Lu Yutong. She was a representative of Tiger Yang Academy and her strength surpassed his. He couldn't afford to ignore her. He hastily explained. The matter is this boy is the son of Ling Dongxing, the head of the Ling family. Secretly granting this spot to his son, I merely acted for the greater good, ensuring this opportunity is used effectively. A fine greater good indeed. Ling Han sneered. Ling Zhongquan, do you have any shame? This spot was earned by my father's life. What does the family have to do with it? You don't need to concern yourself. You simply wanted this spot for your grandson, so he can surpass my father in cultivation and help you seize the family headship. You want to be a whore and set up a chastity archway at the same time. The height of shamelessness, utterly shameless! Ling Zhongquan trembled with rage at Ling Han's scathing rebuke, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. You little beast. You dare insult this old man? Ling Zhongquan's voice was thick with fury. To be scolded like this by a waste, if he didn't severely punish Ling Han, he'd surely suffer an internal injury from the anger. Ling Han simply smiled faintly to Lu Yutong. I have absolutely no interest in entering Haiyang Academy. This quota exchange is cancelled. Let Haiyang Academy compensate me with some spirit medicine instead. Agreed, Lu Yutong nodded. Cultivating a single student to their full potential required a vast amount of spirit medicine. No, Ling Zhongquan immediately shouted. This quota belongs to Mu Yin. None of you can take it, old dog. Is there something wrong with your ears? This quota was clearly exchanged by my father. What has it got to do with you? Ling Han scoffed, then looked at Lu Yutong. Next, this is the first order I give you. He paused. Subdue this old dog for me. I want to slap this shameless old geezer a few times. Lu Yutong hesitated only slightly before nodding. Very well. Ling Han had shown his sincerity by giving her 2 precious incantations, so naturally she had to reciprocate. What? Lu Yutong actually agreed to be Ling Han's follower. Follower sounds grand. A genius from the prestigious Haiyang Academy, willing to become someone's follower. How incredibly unbelievable! Yet it was true. Lu Yutong had stood up, her beautiful eyes fixed on Ling Zhongquan, her graceful figure emanating a powerful fighting spirit. Senior Sister Lu, don't be deceived by this boy! Ling Muyan shouted from the side, his face full of shock, unable to accept that a woman as talented as Lu Yutong would be fooled by Ling Han's sweet words, especially since this stunning beauty was the one he had desperately tried to pursue. Now, it felt like he'd swallowed 10,000 flies, utterly dejected. Do you surrender or shall I make a move? Lu Yutong said calmly. Chapter 05 Beating the Old Dog. Lu Yutong possessed absolute confidence. She was at the 8th level of Gathering Yuan, while Ling Zhongquan was only at the 6th. While it might seem like only a 2-level difference, one was in the late Gathering Yuan stage, the other in the mid stage, a significant gap. Ling Zhongquan was both furious and shocked. Miss Lu, are you really going to help this little beast, old dog? Watch your mouth, Ling Han said calmly from the side. This remark infuriated Ling Zhongquan and the other 3. Calling someone old dog while demanding others keep their mouths clean wasn't that the height of hypocrisy? The pot calling the kettle black. Utterly tyrannical. Ling Han smiled faintly. So what if he was tyrannical in his past life? He was known for his protectiveness, favoring loyalty over righteousness. He would always defend his own, no matter what, right or wrong. They could settle that later. Behind closed doors, the Ling Zhongquan family had been so overbearing he'd be a fool to swallow such an insult. Lu Yutong didn't respond, but her lithe body gracefully leaped forward, her delicate hand shot out, pressing towards Ling Zhongquan. She moved like a descending fairy, without a trace of anger, appearing ethereal and transcendent. But Ling Zhongquan felt nothing of the sort. Cold sweat poured down his forehead. He was at the mid-stage of gathering essence, while she was at the later stage, an insurmountable gap. But Ling Zhongquan absolutely refused to be slapped by Ling Han, this supposed waste and junior, so he had to fight back. Failing that, he had to escape. Bang! He unleashed the Ling family's unique skill, the threefold hand, to meet Lu Yutong's attack. This is a yellow-grade mid-tier martial art and one of the 3 great secrets of the Ling family. The Ling family rose to become one of the 2 leading families of Kangyan Town thanks to these 3 techniques. Their power is naturally formidable. Unfortunately, his opponent was Lu Yutong, the little plum blossom hand. The ice-cold beauty let out a light rebuke, her slender hand fluttering a series of taps and strikes, graceful beyond description, yet possessing terrifying power. With each flick of her hand, Ling Zhongquan could only retreat step by step, his old face turning crimson. A yellow-grade superior martial art. His cultivation was suppressed, his martial art was suppressed. If Ling Zhongquan had any advantage, it was his decades of combat experience. But the problem was that Lu Yutong was a martial arts prodigy. While her experience was lacking, her understanding of combat was astonishing. fully compensating for her lack of experience. How could Ling Xuanhuan possibly avoid defeat? Ling Xuanhuan was subdued, his danshin sealed, his yuan qu unable to flow. He was little stronger than an ordinary person. "Grandfather! Father!" Ling Myun and the other two cried out, wanting to rush forth. But deterred by Lu Yutong's strength, they could only glare angrily at Ling Han. They showed no remorse, believing it was all Ling Han's fault. Had Ling Han not appeared, things would have proceeded as planned. Ling Han looked at Lu Yutong and said, "Slightly alter your fighting style, and your combat strength will be significantly enhanced. For instance, during your 17th move, if you simply lower your right hand and advance your left hand by 2 inches, you would have already subdued your opponent." Lu Yutong was initially unconvinced. She assumed Ling Han had discovered some ancient treasure trove containing advanced martial arts secrets, allowing him to offer a few simple instructions that could help her break through. But as she recalled the battle, Ling Han's assessment was impeccable. Had she followed his instructions, the fight would have ended much sooner. A wave of awe washed over her. His insight was terrifying. Ling Han chuckled inwardly. Who was he? A martial arts king from 10,000 years ago. Subduing a little girl was child's play. He walked to Ling Xuanhuan, raising his right hand high. "You dare, you little beast!" Ling Xuanhuan roared, his eyes blazing. If Ling Han slap without hesitation, Ling Han delivered a resounding slap across Ling Xuanhuan's face. "Sis!" The 3 Ling family members and 5 maids gasped. "He actually did it! He really slapped the esteemed Ling family's chief steward in public. Himph! No wonder this old dog's skin is so thick. My hand hurts from slapping him." Ling Han grimaced. "This is natural. The body tempering realm is about refining every part of the body with yuan force, so that every muscle is filled with it. A punch, a kick, can unleash terrifying power." Ling Xuanhuan was already in the yuan gathering realm, having completed the body tempering stage. Therefore his face was completely refined by yuan force. Even a full strength strike from someone in the mid-body tempering stage wouldn't injure him significantly, only causing some pain and bleeding. A weapon would be needed to inflict real damage, but this wasn't about injury, it was about humiliation. To be slapped by a trashy, junior cultivator in the second layer of the body tempering realm, and in front of 5 maidservants. What a disgrace! How could he face anyone after such a humiliation? Ling Xuanhuan's eyes blazed with fury. He roared, "You little beast, this isn't over, you will regret this, you will!" "Sigh, threatening me in front of my followers. How foolish!" Ling, turning to Lu Yutong, "Someone is threatening your master. What do you think we should do?" Lu Yutong's pretty face twitched slightly. As a pampered daughter of the Lu family, she wasn't used to being someone's follower, but she was a woman of her word and immediately replied, "Should I kill him?" Her words startled Ling Xuanhuan's 2 sons and Ling Miyun. Ling Xuanhuan was their backbone, their pillar of support. If he died, their authority in the Ling family would crumble. Ling Han smiled and shook his head. "This old dog belongs to my father. He should be dealt with by my father personally." However, he detached a table leg, weighing it in his hand, while hell escaped death. Bang! He striking Ling Xuanhuan across the face. A heavy thud echoed, and Ling Xuanhuan opened his mouth, spitting out blood mixed with broken teeth. "Old dog," I spat. "My father risked his life, and you steal his hope. Do you deserve a beating? You have sons and grandsons, but my father doesn't. Yesterday you used your strength to brutally injure me. Is that the behavior of an elder? Since you don't care about your reputation, and don't want to be an elder, why should I give you the respect due to an elder?" With each sentence from Ling Han, a stick fell. After several blows, Ling Xuanhuan was disheveled, his face covered in blood, at least half his teeth gone. However, despite his miserable appearance, a martial artist possesses incredible vitality. As long as there were no internal injuries, even the most severe external wounds would heal quickly. Ling Han therefore beat him with gusto, without the slightest worry of accidentally killing him, secretly vowing that once he had the power to suppress Ling Dongxing, he would have both father and son flayed alive. "My hands are tired!" Ling Han tossed the stick aside. "Yutong, let's go out." Yutong shuddered. That way of addressing her felt incredibly cloying. This episode is complete. Welcome to subscribe. Turn on the small bell forward. Please leave your comments. I will continue to update the content behind.